Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. Today, oh, I'm Andrew. Today I got a couple things I want to talk about. We're going to talk about Bethesda, the acquisition, of Bethesda, and why I think that all games going forward are going to be exclusive to Xbox. And I mean, you got industry insiders out there saying that that's the case. Phil Spencer himself said any system that where Game Pass is an option is where you will find Bethesda games. So I mean, yeah. So I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about my feelings about that. Seeing as I do have a PlayStation and an Xbox, and how I would feel if I was only on PlayStation still, because I was only on PlayStation for a very, very long time. And it wasn't until Xbox One X that I actually decided to, change that, for the most part. Now, the only thing that's really changed is I buy my third-party games on the Xbox ecosystem now. So that basically means that PlayStation is now losing out on that money that they could have got to help recoup on the subsidy of the console from me, because they chose to produce a weaker console, a less powerful console. Which leads to our second topic, Mass Effect Legendary Edition outperforming the PlayStation 5 version. Wow. I guess them tools are really starting to take effect, man. So, let's talk about Bethesda first. I want to save the juicy part for after, you get through my Bethesda spiel. So basically, Bethesda. I mean, this was a long time coming. I'm pretty sure. I can't believe. Honestly, I can't believe it didn't happen sooner. And the only reason it didn't happen sooner is because Microsoft or Xbox didn't have the full backing of Microsoft. Xbox was, basically to live or die on its own will or whatever. If they couldn't produce enough to keep it going, then Microsoft didn't really care if it lived or died. But thanks to Phil Spencer and his amazing leadership, I like Phil Spencer. I do. I think he's a good dude. I think he's done an amazing job for Xbox, which is good, because we want healthy competition in this industry. If we didn't have competition, if Sony was just running away with it all the time, we wouldn't have development. We wouldn't, the medium wouldn't move any further than where it is now. Last generation, we saw Sony pivot and go more for beautiful looking visuals, and nobody can deny that first party last gen games for PlayStation 4 were beautiful. They were freaking amazing. God of War, that looked just as good as almost anything on the Xbox up to that point. But then you got stuff like Shadow of the Tomb Raider and other things, toward the end of the generation that, in my opinion, evened it out. So, yes, these games come from actually, if I really had to put a finger on it, I would say Gears 5 looks just as good as God of War. God of War looks good, but if you look at God of War now on PlayStation 5 versus Gears 5, both of them have had a touch up. PlayStation did their touch up, and Xbox did their touch up, so it's fair game. It's definitely fair game now. On PlayStation 5, God of War now runs at 4K checkerboard at 60 frames a second, and it still looks good. But it still suffers from text. I'm just going to say the textures on, some things kind of bring it back to that, and the density of stuff. You could tell it's a last gen game, but it looks amazing. It looks great. It definitely moved forward, and I'm very thankful for that. I get to play it at 4K, 60 frames a second. Doesn't matter if it's checkerboard, because the checkerboard on that game looked really good. You could barely see it most of the time. Then you have Gears 5, which has completely, I mean, it already looked amazing with high quality, but now it has ultra PC settings with global illumination and variable rate shading, technology. This game just looks freaking amazing now. Amazing. It looks amazing, It definitely looks far better than God of War does now. And, the character models on God of War are freaking amazing. Like, it would be hard to say that the Gears of War 5 characters look that good, but they're close enough to where either way you're getting a AAA experience, but you are getting a more AAA experience now on the Xbox Series X version of Gears 5, which looks and feels amazing, and you can play some of that at 120 frames a second. So, back to Bethesda and why and what that means for the industry moving forward. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Xbox for me, the Xbox exclusives that were coming out were fine with me. I was perfectly okay with a Forza Horizon, a Forza 7, a Forza 8, a new Forza game, a new Forza Horizon every other year, Gears of War, and Halo. I'll tell you what, just those 4 games alone were more than enough reason for me to own an Xbox, because I love Forza, I love Forza Horizon. I do like Gears of War. I'm not I'm not a super fanboy of Gears of War, but I do like it. And Halo, I wasn't really a Halo fan until Halo 5. Plain and simple. I never really cared for first-person shooters. During the 360 generation, during the Xbox, it wasn't until the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 generation that I actually started caring about first-person shooters, like Call of Duty and stuff. Well, no, I can't say that's not true. I started playing them on PlayStation 3, but moving forward, it wasn't until the 9th generation that I actually started buying more of the first-person shooter games. So, Halo 5 is the first one. Well, Halo Reach. I actually did like Halo Reach. That's unfair of me to say Halo 5. Halo Reach, I never finished it, but I did play it with my kids a lot when it first came out. So, basically, is what I'm saying is where Xbox was at with their exclusives and stuff, that was kind of okay with me. Like, I was okay with that. But now that Bethesda is first-party Xbox game studios, I'm even more excited about the future of Xbox than I was before. This is big for Xbox. Whether you think about it right now, whether there's anything to show for it right now up front, I mean, there is. All the Bethesda titles are on Game Pass, so that's definitely something to show for it, and a lot of people are playing these games now. But what this really means for Xbox is not only did they buy some amazing developers that have pretty big followings, they got id Tech. They now own id Tech. That is major for Xbox. id Tech technology is hands down one of the best first person shooter I love id Tech. I like the way it I like the way it feels. I like the way it looks, especially with Doom Eternal. This technology that Xbox now has, that Xbox now owns, it can be incorporated into other games. Like, imagine, I mean, I feel like, Gears 6 is going to have, they've already said UE5. Hellblade Senua's Saga, that's using the UE5 engine, so those are going to look great. But we also have, we have a new Doom that's probably going to be coming out. We're definitely getting a Series X upgrade for that. We're probably gonna get a new Wolfenstein soon. We're like these, like Xbox really has been doing a lot to better take care of the customers who support it. You've got you've got you've got to understand that Bethesda was going to sell either way. They were going to sell to another company either way. Be thankful that they were bought by Xbox is basically all I can say. They're gonna stay. They're gonna stay. They're gonna stay. Right where they started. Basically, they're going to be able to continue to make the games and the worlds they already were doing, but with more backing and with more help. Like Xbox Game Studios, like I love the collection of studios that Xbox now has. Like Ninja Theory, I freaking love Ninja Theory. Like that Devil May Cry that they made, like I love that Devil May Cry they made. That was good. Hellblade, I loved Senua's Sacrifice. That was that was a good game. It was on the short side, but it was so intense when I played that I was like, whoa, yeah, this is great. Those guys know what they're doing, and they're gonna, now that they have the actual backing of Microsoft, they are gonna make some amazing stuff. Like I wouldn't put Ninja Theory at like an Insomniac level, but they're close enough. They're close enough to being a solid third-party developer that, they're gonna make good games. That whole thing that they put out, the little oh gosh, the multiplayer online thing, like that was, yeah, I'm not gonna say that was a waste of time, because but it was a waste of time. Like they should have just focused on putting all their resources and stuff into creating. I get it, it's nice filler for Game Pass. Like that's definitely good filler for Game Pass, but they should have just put all their attention and all their focus on to creating the new Hellblade, so that it could have been closer to the launch of the Xbox Series X. I still think we're going to get that game next year, early next year. I think we're probably going to see that this E3, and I think it's probably going to launch either end of year or beginning of the next year. I think we're either going to get that in January, February, possibly. That seems pretty. That seems like a pretty good time to me to actually get that game. And then they'll be working on, their next big thing. But I feel like the beginning of next year is when we're going to get that. I feel like it was going to be closer to the Xbox launch, but then the whole COVID thing kind of slowed things down a little bit. But I'm pretty sure that game is pretty close to complete. And if we don't get it early next year, we'll definitely get it by holiday of 2022. That's my guess on that. I think they are trying to get it out sooner. I think because Xbox really hasn't put out anything with the Series X, and that's not like them. So I feel like there's gonna be a pretty sizable drop here toward the end of the year, beginning of next year for Xbox Series consoles, and it's gonna be pretty nice. There's gonna be something for everyone, because not everybody's into Halo, not everybody's into Hellblade, not everybody's into like certain titles. But I feel like the last 6 months of this year, I think we're gonna start seeing some pretty decent drops on both consoles, on PS5 and Xbox Series X, to go with that. But if I was still a PlayStation only guy, and Bethesda wasn't going to be producing games for PlayStation anymore, like I would be pretty personally, I would be kind of upset about that, because I do. I buy a lot of Bethesda games. I play a lot of Bethesda games. I definitely, and I buy these, and I buy them day one when they come out because Bethesda is one of those companies that I've been buying their games for so long that, and I've been playing them for so long that it's just, for me it's natural, to want to see the next best thing from them because I love id Tech. I've loved id Tech, for a long time. So any game that comes out with id Tech, I jump on right out of the gate. I love them, and most of the time their games aren't too buggy, except for Fallout 76. I was gonna get that at launch, but I just waited because I didn't really care about the whole open world with other people. Didn't really care about that too much, so I did wait on that one, and good thing I did because I guess it was pretty buggy when it first came out. I guess there's still bugs in it, but I mean, I would play it more if they were going to do like a next gen upgrade for it to make the visuals look a lot better and increase the frame rate natively instead of just having the FPS boost. I would really appreciate that, and I would play it more. But as it sits, if I was still a PlayStation only guy, I would be kind of grateful too, because as a PlayStation only guy, now I would have a complete reason to have to buy an Xbox. So now I would get to experience the best of both worlds moving forward. And guys, this isn't about a console war anymore. It's really not about which console's better. It's about playing games, man, and just enjoying the creations that these developers make. Bethesda was going to be sold regardless. It didn't matter. Xbox was the best fit for Bethesda, in my opinion. Like, that's great, and it definitely give Xbox fans something to really be happy about. But PlayStation fans, it gives you a reason to buy an Xbox now. It definitely gives you, and I was at Walmart tonight, and in the case, Series S are definitely on the shelf now. A lot of people want that Series X, but the Series S is getting pretty easy to find. You can find those on the shelf at Walmarts now across the country. And if you're a PlayStation only guy, because I mean obviously you don't care about power, if you're a PlayStation only guy, because the Xbox Series X is clearly more powerful, but the PlayStation 5, yeah, dude, if you're a PlayStation guy, throw $300 at that Series S. If you want to play Bethesda games, throw $15 at Game Pass. There you go, man. You're set. You don't never have to buy another game again. You just keep playing Bethesda games when they come out, play them for a month, and then stop your subscription every month. If you really feel that strongly about not buying an Xbox, there you go, man. There's your foot in the door. Better yet, just download Game Pass onto your phone and play them on your phone. But now you have a reason to join the Xbox ecosystem and see what you've been missing for a long time, because dude, Xbox just feels so much more next gen. Being able to buy a game on Xbox One, throw it in my Xbox Series S, and have my saves and everything already there. Yeah, have everything that everything is there. All the upgrades, everything. It just, yeah, dude, it's instant freaking taneous. I don't even have to jump into my online save thing, fumble around until I find the game I want to download my save for. No, man. Right when I turn the game on, Xbox downloads it to my console instantly. Man, you guys really don't know what you're missing. Like, the Xbox Series X definitely feels like a premium next-gen machine, whereas the PlayStation 5 feels sluggish in comparison. It does. It feels sluggish. It feels locked. Dude, the PlayStation 5 feels so locked down, it's not even funny. You can't even get a web browser on there now. Seriously, my PlayStation 5 cam will not even work on my camera or on my laptop. I had to go buy a secondary camera just so I could talk to you guys and so you could see my pretty face. I had to go buy another camera because I love my PS5 camera. Like, I love the dual. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. But I had to go out and buy a whole new camera just so I could talk to you guys and record these videos, because my other camera, my 720p camera, just wasn't cutting it. I like the quality of this camera better. It's 1080p, 60 frames a second. It's definitely a better fit for me. But let's move on to the other news. You know, the performance of Mass Effect Legendary Edition on the Xbox and PlayStation 5. Well, Xbox S too. 4K on all three machines. On the Xbox Series S, it's 30, 4K 30, or 1440p 60. But then you have the PlayStation 5 at the 4K 60 mode that drops, frames, whereas the Xbox is solid all the way across. These games are running in back compat, and this is why back compat matters. Okay, this is exactly why it matters, and this is exactly why the Xbox's backward compatibility is freaking amazing. You can get 120 frames, up to 120 frames on your Xbox Series S or Xbox Series X on this game just through back compat. It's not stable by any means. I seen the Digital Foundry video. It was dropping down to like 80 frames a second. I mean, like, that's nothing to be, completely happy about because it was only running at 1440p. But the fact that the PlayStation can't even do that is kind of sad. And when you look at it, the 4K mode on the PlayStation 5 can't even hold a solid 60 all the way across like the Series X can. This gap is going to start getting a little bit bigger and bigger as time goes on. As soon as, all of these AMD tools are actually able to be used on the Series X, I think this gap is going to widen to about 30%. Like right now it's sitting about 17% gap, but I think we're going to see about a 30% gap between these two machines as soon as all of these features are actually usable. So, yeah, I'm not really trying to bash on the PlayStation 5. It is what it is. It's what Sony wanted to put out there. That's their best foot. And they wonder why every single other part of their business is sinking. This is why, Sony. This is why. This is exactly why you are going to do this you're going to do it to the PlayStation, as well as everything else. Your cell phone business, your TV business, your everything, your computer VIOs. Yeah. I mean, the Apple iPod is still more popular than anything that you guys have done in a long time. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's just, well, we'll leave it at that. I'm not going to bash Sony, but if you like this content and you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I really appreciate you following and watching me speak. Thank you.